As long as I was going after the crooks that didn't have badges, I was everybody's hero.
Vic, around the record, the victor may be sworn in.
I'll swear myself in. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And we have the video, the documents to prove it.
We do.
We do.
Oh, man. What a day. So we decided to do more content, Vic.
Yes.
Some shorter episodes, some longer stuff, just to keep things going. Because, man, there's so much to talk about. With everybody actually being quarantined in, there's a lot going on. And we're seeing massive change, societal change.
We are.
But it all corresponds to what we've been talking about since July of last year.
When I was driving in today, I was listening to my iPhone through my truck, and it just randomly went over to our podcast from March 30th, I think. And we were talking then about how our country has become a powder keg.
Yeah.
And that all it will take is one spark. And we were kind of predicting in March what's happening right now. We talked about it. So it's just going to take one incident.
Yeah.
And this country is going to blow like a powder keg. People are going to be in the streets. Because we've been talking about this police brutality since we started this podcast.
Yeah.
And I agree with Susan, who wrote me the letter last episode, who said she wasn't going to listen anymore. I hope Susan's listening, because I've had a lot of good friends in law enforcement too, and there are a lot of really wonderful, dedicated people. Sergeant Colin Jordan, who is dead now, but he was my sergeant when I was with the Austin Police Department. He's the one who talked me into going to college.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful man. I loved him. Jack Harwell, oh my God, what a great guy. Chief Deputy Dan Weinberg here in Waco. What a great guy. And so many others that I've known that were just wonderful. So I agree with Susan from last week. We do have some wonderful police. But man, this problem has been going on since the police started. This
True.
problem has been going on since before America started. You know, the people with the power thinking they can beat up and murder the people who don't have the power. You know, the haves always picking on the have-nots, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a sad thing, and it shouldn't be that way.
I agree.
You were working for me when Austin Ty and I went to the NAACP convention in New Orleans.
Yes.
And I was one of their guest speakers. Mm-hmm. And my topic was police brutality.
I remember putting the videos together for that. Remember, we put a nice presentation together for that, didn't we?
We did.
A whole bunch of clips and craziness.
Probably at least 10 or 12 clips I showed them of different forms of police brutality that had been caught on security cameras and things.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to, don't do anything wrong, you're going to be videotaped.
You can be videotaped.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And even when you think it's not, there are satellites in the sky that can look down on a military base and tell from the shoulder of the officer they're looking at what rank he is.
Oh, man.
And this is from space. And we had this technology in the 90s. I remember reading about it in a Tom Clancy book.
Tom Clancy.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and then James Catanzaro, our attorney, who used to work for people that if he told me he'd have to kill me, has told me that about some of the technology they had when he was doing it. That's just incredible.
Yeah, man.
We've got some good lawyers that work with us. Robbie Robertson. Aubrey's a great lawyer.
Great lawyer.
I hired Robbie from the day after he was fired by Abel Reyna. Abel Reyna had been running against Barry Johnson, who's the DA now.
Right.
And Abel saw Barry and Robbie talking in the rotunda of the courthouse, just chatting. No, he didn't do anything but that, and Abel fired him for it.
Really?
I wish he hadn't done that. I tried real hard to like Abel. I tried real hard to like his daddy. You know, I ran against his daddy, though, and I beat his daddy, Felipe. Right. That's when Felipe turned Republican. He said, if these Democrats are so stupid they're going to elect that guy over me, then I'm not a Democrat anymore.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he called a press conference.
He party flipped over that?
He party flipped over that.
That's wild.
And then when I got indicted, he was one of the first ones they went to interview, and he was saying, well, I think any time a DA is accused of any wrongdoing, they should immediately resign. Well, then, here comes 30-something years later, his own son is being accused of wrongdoing in the DA's office. I had that video. I could have put that video in the air, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it out of respect to Abel and out of respect to Felipe. I'll talk about it now because Abel's not DA anymore. If Abel was still DA, I wouldn't do it. Abel's in private, working for a big law firm now and helping with some of this intellectual property law, which is way over my head. So.
Well, it's just crazy now, especially when you deal with technology.
Yeah, plus now we have Judge Albright here in Waco. He took Walter Smith's seat after Smith got taken out. And Albright is an expert.
Tapped him out.
And Albright is an expert on intellectual property.
Cool.
So a lot of the patent infringements and things like that are being filed here in Waco.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, man.
He's such an expert. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the problem is that was really starting to kick up. It was getting to be quite a business for Waco, as all these people coming in for the federal court here with this judge who understood this and could make the decision. So they were filing their cases here. Or other judges were sending their cases here to Judge Albright because he's that brilliant when it comes to this area of the law.
Yeah. And
they were even building new hotels around close to the federal courthouse to accommodate all that.
That's
plus,
wild.
Magnolia and
that whole enterprise.
Yeah, the Chip and Joanna. Yeah. I really want to have Chip and Joanna on the show sometime. I really do.
We'd have them come and redo the studio. Let them spruce it up.
What do they call that? Ship wrap? Slip wrap?
Shiplap?
Shiplap, yeah.
Shiplap. Need them to come and shiplap the studio.
Yeah. A lot of people in Waco don't like them, because they say they've made my taxes go up, they made the property values go up. Well, that's progress.
That's progress,
and
man.
That's entrepreneurship, and they give a lot back to the community too. So, but everybody's got their detractors. That phrase I use sometimes: the higher up the flagpole you climb, the more little dogs there'll be barking at your butt.
Little doggies.
We
got some of those
barking at your butt. I got a lot. My whole career, I've had little doggies barking at my butt. Because they don't like you climbing that flagpole, man. So, but people climb the flagpole. But you're right. People are at home. There's a lot of anxiety. People are so anxious. There's a lot of fear. Everybody's afraid they won't get their jobs back. People are unemployed. And they can't even file for unemployment because all the lines are backed up.
Right.
Right. We need to be pulling in part-time people into all those offices, taking care of these poor folks.
Yeah.
If I had to, I could live off the land. I've already planted a garden.
You did?
I did. We saw our first tomato that the birds attacked last night. Might have to get some bird netting.
Oh, man.
But say people in the inner city, in apartments, sharing apartments with other people, and you don't know who's coming and going and who they've been in contact with, and you got this virus putting people in hospitals every day.
Yeah, in Waco, where we're at, they just had their record number of cases a couple days ago. They posted, this is the record number per day.
The curve is moving up.
Yeah, man.
People, stay alive.
Stay home, stay alive, stay away from other people. Just for now, man. Just for now. It's just for now. It'll get better.
Staying alive.
Oh, don't you dare go! Don't you dare go BGs on it.
If my hair gets much longer, I'm gonna look like a BG.
That's funny.
But yeah, there's so much fear and anxiety, and there's no place to go. There's no way to relieve it, which is another reason weed needs to be legal.
Yeah, just mellow everybody out, man.
Mellow everybody out.
Mellow out, man.
If your child finds your prescription medicine and eats it, they could die. If your child finds some weed and eats it, they're gonna go to sleep. And they'll wake up happy, as long as they don't eat a pound of it.
I had the craziest dreams.
Daddy, I had the craziest dream. Yeah. So, talk to your legislators. And if you want to be patriotic, there's a big patriotic movement right now from all colors, all races.
True.
Go vote.
That's it.
That's the most patriotic thing you can do.
You've got the power.
You got the power. If you want change, go vote. We've got to change some things, because I'm telling you, I was looking at an article this week about private prisons.
Oh, God. Let's go there.
Since private prisons took over the prison industry, the number of incarcerated people has gone through the roof.
I have no doubt.
And even taking into consideration the population growth, even taking that into consideration, we have 10 or 20 times more people in prison now than we did in 1972.
No
way.
Wow.
And because we're locking people up for bullshit.
Right.
We're locking people up for things they could just do community service, be on probation. Why take them make them lose their job, make them lose their family, lose their home over minor crimes, unless it's a major crime against property or you hurt somebody? They don't need to be in prison.
Right, man.
Open those prison doors. Let's reassess things.
Smart.
We gotta. Well, the one I was listening to, the podcast I was listening to driving in from March 30th, I was saying, we got to stop. Look where we are. Take a look around. It's not too late to start again. And you said, oh, man, that sounds like Buffalo Springfield.
Yeah.
I said, no, that's a song I wrote back when I was maybe 17. But that's what we need to do. We need to stop. Look at ourselves first before you look at anybody else. Like Jesus said, get the log out of your own eye before you go after the splinter in somebody else's.
Yeah, man.
Or I like the way Elvis said it. Clean up your own backyard before you go messing with mine.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Poor Elvis.
I miss Elvis.
Poor Elvis.
I should have known my son had a drug problem. At least was leaning that way by the time he was four, maybe 5, because he liked Elvis music.
Oh, I think I say he liked peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
No, he liked Elvis.
Was that Elvis's
music.
thing?
He loved Elvis music. And he found out Elvis had died, and had died from taking drugs. And he says to me, "Oh, poor Albus.
Albus.
He should have did just whittle bit drugs."
Oh, man.
I go, oh, dear.
Oh, boy.
I said, no, son, he shouldn't have been doing any drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of those kind of drugs. None of that stuff that can kill you. Now, smoking weed, that just makes you feel better. It gets rid of a lot of your ailments. It's good for arthritis.
Glaucoma.
No, come on, Donald Trump, make it legal. You could do it with a stroke of your pen. So what if you piss off some of those rich boys in the pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah.
You want to help America? You say you're the president bringing America together? Legalize weed. And if you legalize weed, it has another effect. That's one less reason for the police to be pulling over a black man.
That's truth. Boom. Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what else is truth? We got some more messages, Vic.
Oh, we did?
We got some more messages. Let's read a couple real quick. I'll give you one positive and one negative. Here's one. Vic, don't use an educated man to relay your left-wing dumb decisions.
Oh, I know what that's about. I saw that. I posted a photo of Sam Elliott, from
Sweet beard.
The Big Lebowski.
Oh, yeah?
With that hat on. I'm going to get me one of them hats. I like that Sam Elliott Big Lebowski hat.
Great movie, great hat.
And the photo said, if you're signing a COVID-19 waiver to go to a rally that says that COVID-19 is a hoax, you're a special kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And some people took that the wrong way.
Well, she retorted back, too.
Yeah, she did. A
little bit further down, she said, I thought you were an intelligent and educated person. I was, in all caps, wrong. I got to say, you replied to that, Vic, and you said, you're right. That's funny.
You're right. What's her first name?
That was a Gina.
Gina?
Gina said that to you.
Gina. Well, thank you for communicating with us, Gina. And I'm sorry if I offended you with that in any way, but I wasn't trying to make a political statement. What I'm trying to say is stay alive.
Yeah.
Don't take any chances with this COVID thing. It's serious.
It is very serious.
It could kill you. Why expose yourself voluntarily to the COVID virus? Wear a mask. Wear those rubber gloves. When I took my truck in, and that's about the only people I've been around is the GMC. I wore my Butch Cassidy mask. It looks like a stagecoach robber, and I had on my rubber gloves.
You weren't messing around.
I don't mess around.
Smart.
Well, see, at my age, even though I don't have any health problems, I'm considered elderly. I've had my AARP card now for 19 years.
What does that get you?
I don't know. I never signed up for it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't ever join anything.
Smart. Smart.
Well, I joined a few things. I joined the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. I joined the Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers, TCDLA. And I'm a member of American Trial Lawyers Association. I'm in their top 100 trial lawyers.
Hey!
And just last month, my partner in the law office. I'm married.
Not some domestic partnership.
No, not my domestic partner. My law partner, James Catazaro, got picked to be in the top 100. So that's 2 lawyers in the same law firm that are in the top 100 in the United States with the American Trial Lawyers Association.
Not too shabby.
And I'm also a member of the American Association for Justice.
Right.
And they work for equal access to the courts.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is
even
a whole thing in its own.
Oh, yeah. God. A lot of people can't afford a lawyer, and so AAJ helps with that. And they give a lot of good seminars and continuing legal education. So those are the organizations I belong to. About 15 years ago, I even quit going to church. And I went to one of the most liberal churches there was. I was going to Unity Church of the Hills.
Yeah.
Our pastor was Steve. And you remember Steve. You went there.
Super nice guy.
Super nice guy. Mm-hmm. And one of my gurus, Lillian, went there. God, Lillian's got to be in her mid-80s now.
Wow.
Lillian Desjardins. She and her husband, Gilles. Yep. 2 of the most wonderful people. You walk into a room with them, and your attitude, your mood changes just from the vibrations they're putting out because they are so love. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say that they practice love or that they love people unconditionally. I say they are love because they radiate that.
I agree.
Now, Gilles died a few years ago, and I still miss him. But after Gilles died and then after Steve moved back to Atlanta, then I quit going to church. And I have my own church now, just me on the back porch where I pray and meditate. And I talk with Jesus and Paul, because they're my 2 favorite New Testament people. And sometimes even some of the other disciples come around and we hang out.
Want a beer? Help yourself to the fridge.
Help yourself to the fridge. Come on. All right, when we run out, Jesus will make some more.
Yeah, I'll make some wine for everybody.
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, people are under so much stress. So take time to breathe. 5 in, 5 out. Slowly. 5 in, 5 out. If you look at my arrest video, I was doing that while they were arresting me. That's why I didn't freak out.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't hide my face. That's how I got handcuffed in the front, because I had the presence of mind to stick my hands out there. And that's why I wouldn't show them which key opened the back door. I made them walk me around to the front. I wanted to be on that camera because what they were doing needed to be exposed in the light of day. And my perp walk was going to be different from anybody else's perp walk. I did a proud and bold perp walk because I had the truth with me. And that's why I said going up those steps, you know what's going on here, and I'll still be proven right. And I was.
Yep.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you,
Took
Gary.
Some time,
Richardson.
but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah.
Ooh.
So breathe. 5 in, 5 out. 5 in, 5 out. And don't do, and count it. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
4, 5. Yeah, don't do it like that. And then exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On YouTube right now. Go look at it. There, you put this video together for me, Jonathan. My friend out in Point Reyes, California, MC Yogi, who's one of the best yoga teachers I have ever been with. He's also a musician, and he did the song Breathe Deep. Mm-hmm. And he gave us permission to use that song on our podcast. And however, they said, use the Vic. We wrote to their people and said, we want to use this song. How much? And they wrote back and said, no, man, if it's Vic, let him do it. Whatever. So you put my arrest video with MC Yogi's song, Breathe Deep.
We did.
Yeah, and the whole message of Breathe Deep is in that song. So go to YouTube, watch me get arrested again, but with MC Yogi in the background singing Breathe Deep, deep breath, inhale, exhale to release the stress, deep breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this modern day world, all this information, too much overcomplication. Oh, he's just good with it. He's sort of a rapper. We need to make the best of the situation. So I open up my mind, steady concentration. Breathe deep. And I'm sorry, MC Yogi, Nick. I'm getting all the words wrong. I know I'm getting all the words wrong, but I've listened to that song probably 10,000 times. I didn't know that song then because he wasn't around then.
True.
But I discovered MC Yogi 3 or 4 years ago. Matter of fact, I went to Sri Lanka.
You did.
To study yoga under MC Yogi, yes.
That was an interesting conversation, Vic. You just came in like, hey, I'm going to Sri Lanka. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. I didn't even know how to pronounce it. I said I'm going to Sri Lanka. And one of our staff members corrected me. He said, I believe that's pronounced Sri Lanka. I said, no kidding. I've always called it Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. Wow.
I grew up in the sticks.
That was an interesting time, man. We're like, wait, where are you going?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. All right.
And for our listeners, if you want to try some yoga, and all you people at home who are stressed out, if you got $15, he and his wife Amanda do a Zoom yoga class.
Well, that's cool.
Every Saturday morning and Sunday morning. They do it at 10 a.m. California time. So that's 12 noon my time. I've done it with them some. And on Monday nights, they do a free meditation where they take you through maybe 5 or 8 minutes of some nice, easy stretches.
Yeah.
And then you meditate for about 15 minutes.
That's cool, man.
So Google MC Yogi, sign up for some of his yoga classes, sign up for his meditation class, and follow him. Buy his music, listen to it. It will help you. It really will. He is. I told him in Sri Lanka that he was a prophet of our day. He said, "Oh, that's just your fundamentalist upbringing." I said, "No, I really believe that. You're taking the same old message, the same old story, but putting a brand new spin and twist on it."
Which is what it's all about.
It's all about, just repackaging. And he's repackaged just evolution of consciousness, being kind to other people. He's got so much great music out there. Listen to it. Let's talk about what we got coming up.
Sure.
Coming up, we're going back to the timeline for a little while. We're going to briefly talk about Jan Patterson.
Yeah.
I know. Later on, we'll probably dedicate 2 or 3 episodes to her because she was just a really bad character in all of this. She was in it from the get-go, from the night of the big brass meeting in Georgetown, the night we got Lucas away from the task force. We'll be talking about Jan Patterson a little bit, but then we'll come back to her later. The reason we're going to be talking about her is because there's an article that came out in the paper during my trial. And the Texas Rangers were having their Ranger reunion at the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame, Waco, Texas, and she was their guest speaker.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, I got a standing ovation, and she was telling them how great the trial was going in Austin and how Jack Friels was winning, and Vic Fazell would be enjoying the snows of Leavenworth by Christmas.
You're kidding.
No.
Well,
she said that my little...
wrong.
Yes, she was wrong. She said the only time Vic Fazell will see his little boy again will be through a thick glass at Leavenworth.
That's just insanity.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, but we're going to talk about her a little bit when we come back for the next episode because we found out that Jim Adams, Colonel Jim Adams,
Yep. We've
died.
talked about him many, many times.
Many times. Colonel Jim Adams died on May the 25th of this year. Just last month. Last month. As soon as I heard he died, my first thought was, I wonder if he was listening to my podcast.
Oh, jeez.
I hope not. I hope not.
Or maybe he saw the Netflix documentary.
I don't know. Netflix really tried to interview him. They wanted to, and he refused.
Yeah.
So that tells me he might have been a mean guy. He was part of the deep state. Matter of fact, one of the leaders of the deep state. But he was smarter than Bob Prince, and he was smarter than Phil Ryan because he refused to be interviewed.
Yeah.
And they got on that Netflix thing and ended up looking like dopes.
God, man. I mean, I read some of the comments people post, like just looking at the, I belong to a couple different, true crime groups on Facebook and whatnot. And obviously this documentary comes up all the time. And I mean, just the comments are either Lucas was insane or those Rangers look terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, they came off so poorly.
Well, the way that Jan Patterson fits into Jim Adams' death is that she wrote an obituary column for him that was published in the Waco paper.
Yeah.
Now, Waco won't put anything in there about Netflix and Vic Fazell, although they put Netflix David Koresh in there.
They did.
They wouldn't put Netflix Vic Fazell in there. You guys should be ashamed. But they let Jan Patterson write this glowing thing about Colonel Jim Adams, which, by the way, did not mention me. Or if it did, the Waco paper took it out.
I imagine you'll be nowhere near that. No.
I
wouldn't you in there.
During my trial, I really think they were planning to have the Vic Fazell exhibit in the Ranger Hall of Fame Museum. Yes. Yeah. Those plans got scrapped pretty fast. But she wrote his obituary, but she didn't mention me, and she didn't mention him being head of the domestic spy program, which keeps millions of files.
Yeah, they're not putting that out
on U.S. citizens
like you and me.
Yeah.
Definitely you.
Well, definitely me. If it was still going on, and I bet you it is, there are now files on everybody who was out in the streets protesting, because they think they have those masks on, and we've talked before about I wonder what that did to facial recognition. I was talking to an expert last week, and she said that out in California where she lives, that they're already starting to round up some of the looters, that they're getting them from the eye scan thing from some of the video, even though they were wearing masks. Now, when I'm wearing my mask, my smartphone isn't smart enough to recognize me. My smartphone turns dumb the minute I put my mask on. But there's other technology that reads the iris in the eye, and so they're using that video and applying that technology to it, and they're catching these guys. Yeah.
Woo.
So people out there, the FBI's got a file on you. And if you didn't listen to our last episode or the one before this one where I'm talking about how I would handle the protest if I were organizing it, go back and listen to that, because that would make an impact. You cripple Trump Tower, and I don't mean with an explosion.
Yeah,
go back and listen about the way we did it, with no violence, no property being damaged, no nothing. But it's just a way to constipate Trump Tower. And that would get Mr. Trump's attention, and Mr. Trump is the decision maker.
True.
So we got to get President Trump's attention. So go back and listen to that. The Abby Hoffmans of the world out there, there are Trump properties all over the globe. Mm-hmm. I would focus my protest there, and not violent. Just make it hard for them to make a profit.
Yeah.
Blocking ingress and egress, blocking the bathrooms, sitting in the bathroom all day, taking up a toilet all day. And when you have 100 people, 1,000 people in there on every single toilet, that place is going to get constipated, man. People are going to get mad.
Oh, man.
You know?
Where do you come up with this
You're
stuff?
going to get mad. So that's the way to get change. Mm-hmm. Not by crashing your skateboard through a window.
Don't do that.
That pissed me off so bad. I hope they catch that guy.
Yeah.
Because that was just wrong. Yeah, Prince looked bad. Phil Ryan looked bad. They wanted to interview Ron Border, too. And even Ron Border was smart enough not to go on there.
Yeah.
You know, I used to say, Ron Border's an intelligence officer? Why, that's an oxymoron. But at least he was smart enough not to let Netflix interview him.
Wow.
But, yeah, I hope Netflix would do something on that. I might be on Netflix again. There was going to be a meeting in Houston next week that I was going to attend for their unsolved mysteries or unsolved cases. That's an ongoing thing.
Oh, cool.
And there's one that I've taken an interest in. But that meeting had to be postponed because of the coronavirus. COVID blocked the meeting with Netflix. But that may be coming in the future. So you might get to see Vic on Netflix again. I hope so. We were talking about Spike Lee, too. If you know Spike Lee, I handed him my sticker. He wrote down my phone number. He was very interested in the story. Poke him not too hard, because I really like the guy. But get his attention. And there were a couple other movie companies that had contacted us too, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Even one pretty neat star that I wouldn't mind playing me. I'm not going to say his name, but he's a good actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's lost a whole lot of weight.
Started in comedy, went to drama. It's good.
Started in comedy, went to drama. Yeah, he would be good playing me. So I hope. Oh, and his dad is a big deal maker out in Hollywood. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that might come back around.
That'd be cool.
I hope so.
That'd be cool.
But and coming up after Patterson, Jan Patterson, we're going to do a story on Robert Earl Williams.
And we've teased it a little bit. I don't know if we've named the name.
We named the name now because his daughter, Maggie Williams, called me last week and said, Vic, isn't there something we can do now with everything changing about my dad's case? I don't know, Maggie, if there's anything we can do civilly. And I've already told her this on the phone, and she's already given me permission to talk about this and to mention her name. And her brother is on board, too.
Awesome.
So we're going to be interviewing them. We actually have the dash cam video. They didn't have body cams back then.
Right.
But we have the dash cam video of, I can't remember if it was four.
It's four.
Four.
4 or 5.
Four or five Waco police
five.
officers. Might have been 5. Robert Earl Williams was a Vietnam vet. He came back with some mental problems. He was wandering aimlessly around his sister's yard, and she called the police, say, would you come pick my brother up and take him back to the home where he lives? And so they show up, and what do? They start yelling orders at him. Get on your stomach, blah, 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 blah. And he doesn't understand what's going on. He's just kind of walking around looking at sticks on the ground and leaning up against the tree, and he's just sort of out of it. And they tase him. Not one. The second one comes up. He tases him. Then Robert's on his stomach. A third one. They put another taser in him. His body looked like he had been stung by a hive of bees.
Yep.
And they tased that man to death, people. Robert Earl Williams was a heavy-set black man with some pre-existing conditions. And they said he was resisting. I watched those tapes backwards and forwards over and over. And there's no way he could have been resisting.
No.
Unless your body flinching when they put the electricity through you, involuntarily flinching is resisting. And they tased and tased and tased and tased in the hot summer. I mean, it went on for minutes.
Yes.
Until he died. There should be criminal charges brought on that. There is no statute of limitations on murder.
Right.
There is no statute of limitations on murder. Now, we may never be able to do anything for Maggie and her brother on the civil case.
Right.
Because we filed the lawsuit and the Court of Appeals decided, no, you can't have this lawsuit.
They got immunity, Vic, which is one thing that's being brought up a lot. Is people are talking about they want to remove that shield of immunity from these officers when this stuff happens.
And the Supreme Court of the United States has that opportunity right now because of those 11 cases we've already talked about that the Supreme Court took up. So they have an opportunity. And a couple of weeks ago they came out with a case about how the Civil Rights Act of 1964 also covers sexual identity, gays, transgenders, and all of that. And I'm going, well, if this court, and this is considered a conservative court, is going to broaden the 1964 Civil Rights Act, thank you, Lyndon Johnson, for pushing that through, and Hubert Humphrey, don't forget Hubert Humphrey. If they're going to broaden it there, this may be the court to take away or at least limit a lot of that immunity.
Yeah, man.
Which is nothing but just a vestige of the old law from England that the king can do no wrong.
Right.
The king can do no wrong. Well, you know, that's how archaic those immunity laws are. We got to get past that so that people are accountable for their actions. You hear the people on the right talking about accountability all the time. Well, it's this poor person's fault. He made the choices to put him there. Well, all you people with the power, you need to be held accountable too. You made the choices that put you in the deep dookie. You got to face the consequences.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So something should be done. These cops need to be looked at because it just looked to me like they were just having a good time tasing this big old black man to death. So we're going to, this was before we had all our cool equipment and everything. Those videos we had to download from the police dash cams, and they're on DVDs, and they're stored in our attic in another place, not here, not in Waco. They're stored in another attic in another place. And even if you found that one, I know I got a backup somewhere. But we're going to locate that video, and we're going to do a documentary on Robert Earl Williams.
Yes, sir.
For YouTube, and a podcast with Maggie and her brother about their father and what he was like, and that he was a human being, and he was murdered by the cops, just like George Floyd. But you know, I got to tell you, black lives do matter, and sometimes white people get in trouble when they say all lives matter. They think that we're distracting from the black issue, and I'm not doing that. Black lives do matter.
Oh, yeah.
But I got to tell you, they don't just do this to black people. I had a friend. He was the most beautiful young man. He could have been a model. He really could have. His dad worked for the newspaper here. His name was Chris. His brother Mark and I are still friends. When all of this was going on with George Floyd, I sent an email to Mark, and I said, Mark, I just want you to know that you're probably thinking about Chris. I know that, and my thoughts and my prayers are with you, and if you need me, reach out. And he sent me back a really sweet email with some links to documents, and he said, wow, Vic, it's odd that you would write me this, because just last night I found the file that I hadn't looked at in over 30 years. And I pulled it down and I looked at it, including all the photographs that my father had me take of my little brother laying in the morgue.
Oh, man.
But Chris was camping somewhere where he shouldn't have been camping. He was inside his tent. Somebody called the police and said, there's a tent over here where it shouldn't be. He liked to fish, and he had put a tent under a bridge over a river. And he was inside his tent buttering a piece of toast when the sheriff's office shows up, and it's like, come out, we want to talk to you. And so Chris walks out still buttering his toast, and he's got this little butter knife in his hand. And they see the flicker of that butter knife, and they blew him away.
Right.
And he was a white kid.
That's crazy.
He was a white kid, and his daddy worked in advertising at the newspaper. He wasn't a reporter. He sold advertisings and put together the print ads back when they did it the old-fashioned way with scissors and glue.
That's insanity.
Yeah, so I miss you, Chris, and Mark, if you're listening, my heart goes out to you. And if you're willing, after we do Robert Earl Williams, I'd like to interview you about Chris, because this is a problem that affects everyone. And every parent should be concerned about their children, no matter what color they are. But if you're black, yeah, you got a lot bigger chance of being pulled over. You got a lot bigger chance of being killed.
Yep.
There was one black leader who did a poll. I can't remember who he was, but it was, tell me how old you were the first time a policeman pulled a gun on you.
What?
Not have they ever
got pulled over, but when they pulled a gun on you.
When they pulled a gun, and he got so many responses. And I had to sit there and think, oh my God, I've never had one pull a gun on me.
That's insane.
Never. You know, and I've known people that, you know, maybe needed a gun pulled on them.
Yeah.
But just like this young black man that was killed just a couple weeks ago, after the George Floyd thing, you know, he was asleep in his car in a parking lot, and somebody called the police.
Mm-hmm.
He said he had been drinking, so he pulled over. They wanted to arrest him for public intoxication and DWI and all that. He said, "Guys, I'm sober now. I can walk home. I just live over there." He didn't live far away, and they wouldn't let him.
That's crazy.
And they started pushing him to the ground and roughing him up and had him on his stomach. And you put a big black guy on his stomach after George Floyd, what's that guy going to be thinking? These people are going to kill me.
Yeah.
And so he got up and ran, and he struggled with a cop, and he took the cop's taser, and he made the mistake of turning around pointing that. Now, he was too far away to hit the cop anyway.
Yeah.
Those wires on that taser don't go that far.
Yeah, they go so far.
I mean, I'd have to go back and look at it again, but my bet would be it's too far. And they murderized him.
Yep.
So please be careful. Please be careful. All of you, be careful out there. These are dangerous times, and everybody is afraid. And if you're thinking about committing suicide, don't do it. Your life is wonderful. Don't think that it's not. Last night, I mean, when you woke up this morning, there were between 250,000 and 1 million people who did not wake up.
Right.
They died in their sleep. And then there's all the other people that died during the day. When you wake up, thank God that you're still alive. Thank God for your life. And that 250,000 to 1 million people that didn't wake up, every one of them had between 1 and 20 people who feel really close to them.
True.
And that affects them. So if you want to know how precious your life is and how much your body wants to live, close your mouth, don't breathe, and pinch off your nose.
Ugh.
And if you do that long enough, you're going to die.
Oh, God.
You'll die. So just do that. Let that be your method. Because I'm telling you, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Your body wants to live. Your body, no matter how strong your will is, no matter how strong your desire is, your body wants to live, and your body is intelligent.
It is.
Your body has memory going back, genetic memory, going back for thousands, if not millions of years. So listen to the intelligence of your own body. You want to commit suicide? Hold your nose and shut your mouth. You can't do it. That's your body wanting to live. That's you talking to yourself and telling yourself, don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Things will be better. Hi, I'm Vic Fazell. During these trying times, you might want to just stay home. And at the law offices of Vic Fazell, we understand. That's why we're set up to handle your personal injury claim without you even having to come in. Just give us a call, and we'll take it from there. We can send any paperwork straight to your smartphone or computer. Don't delay, because if we don't put money in your pocket, you don't owe us anything. I'm Vic Fazell.